Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your host, Jennifer, a professional medium, and I welcome you to join me in my spirit parlor for a time. I've poured the tea and lit some candles, and tonight we're venturing into some fascinating territory. We often think of spirits as the souls of the departed, don't we? Echoes of people who once walked this world. But what if not all beings come from death? Some are born of thought, will, belief, even clay. Tulpas, golems, and egregores are three mysterious forms that challenge our ideas of what is real and what is imagined. What happens when the line between the two begin to blur? Let's begin where it all starts, in the mind. A tulpa is a being created entirely through thought. Imagine something or someone so vividly, so completely, with such sustained belief and attention that they begin to feel real, independent, even sentient. Kinda sounds like an imaginary friend, doesn't it? The idea comes from Tibetan Buddhist practices. Monks would visualize divine beings in such detail that they would become almost palpable, not just as symbols, but as conscious presences. But these ideas traveled west, and the tulpa evolved into something stranger. In the early 1900s, a French explorer and spiritual seeker named Alexandra David Neal journeyed deep into Tibet. She claimed that during her studies, she created a tulpa. She described him as a jolly monk, round-faced and cheerful. At first, he appeared in meditations, and then she began to see him with her own eyes. Others saw him too. He began acting on his own, and eventually, she said, he became mischievous, even frightening. She had to dissolve him through what she described as concentrated rituals. In modern times, some people deliberately create tulpas as companions, personalities that live within their inner world but can respond, grow, and even disagree with them. Trust me, if you go looking, there are entire online communities where people document their tulpas' thoughts, voices, and quirks. It sounds like science fiction, but many of them describe the experience as deeply real. Now here's something spooky for you. I once spoke with someone, and I'll call her Lily, told me that she once had a long period of loneliness, and she began daydreaming about a kind of protective figure. He had a name, a voice. She imagined him beside her at night, his hand on her shoulder when she was afraid. But over time, she stopped controlling what he did. She could hear him speaking while washing dishes or walking alone, and it seemed like he became independent. And eventually this really made her uneasy. She stopped feeling comforted by his presence, and she started feeling watched. Was all of that in her mind? Or had her thoughts summoned something more? Did she attract a being to her, or did her mind actually create one? After pondering that for a little while, let's descend from the mind to the earth and talk about golems. A golem is a being shaped from clay or mud, animated through ancient ritual. It's not a ghost or a demon. It's an artificial life form said to be created to obey and protect. The most famous story of a golem comes from 16th century Prague. Rabbi Judah Loew crafted a man-shaped figure from river clay. It is said that he etched sacred words into the golem's forehead. Emet, that's spelled E-M-E-T, meaning truth. Through this, he breathed life into the being, commanding it to defend and protect his people. The golem was silent, obedient, powerful, but over time it became harder to control. In some versions of this tale, the golem began to destroy property, ignore orders, and even turned violent. To deactivate him, the rabbi erased the first letter of Emet, the E, and changed it just to Met, M-E-T, and this word meant death. These stories serve as powerful metaphors. The golem represents creation without full understanding, willpower without wisdom, and yet the idea persists. Frankenstein's monster is a kind of golem, if you think about it. So are AI-driven robots in science fiction. Even in pop culture, the Pokemon golem or the golem creatures in fantasy games echo these ancient archetypes. A being shaped by hands, made real through intention and symbol. There's even a tale of a man in a small European village who claimed to build a golem to protect his land from invaders. But when the war passed and peace returned, the golem wandered the woods, still waiting for his next command. Take a sip of tea and imagine that, stumbling across a silent giant of earth and moss in the dark woods, his eyes glowing faintly with the last embers of life. Now we've come to the most abstract of the ideas that we're going to talk about tonight, but it's possibly the most powerful, egregores. An egregore isn't a single being, it's more like a group soul, born from the thoughts, emotions, and focus of our collective as people. When enough people pour their energy into a symbol, an idea, or a shared belief, that energy can take on a life of its own as an egregore. The word egregore comes from the Greek term meaning watchers, and some occultists believe these entities could influence events, protect a group, or even manipulate its members. In magical circles, egregores are deliberately created through ritual, shared language, symbols, and repetition to guide or guard a coven. But you don't need a ritual to create one. Think about this for a minute as we finish our cup of tea. Have you ever felt like a brand or a company had a personality of its own? That it somehow acted, decided, or responded even though it's not a person? Just think about that for a minute, how things can take on their own personality and everyone feels the same way about it. Or consider a fan base obsessed with a pop star or a franchise or a fandom. The sheer energy of millions thinking and feeling the same way can form something real, a kind of psychic weather system, for lack of a better way of describing it, like a thought form fed by likes, hashtags, and emotions. But imagine a secret society that worships a symbol so devoutly that the symbol begins to act on its own. whispering and influencing its followers, guiding their hands, shaping their fate. Could a nation have an egregore? A religion have one? A war? That's kind of getting into controversial territory, but some occultists warn of this. Once formed, an egregore can become hungry. It feeds on attention, on belief. If the group forgets its purpose or falls into chaos, the egregore may not fade. It might simply shift and turn. Tulpas, golems, egregores, each of these beings is a reflection of something deep and mysterious, the power of thought, the force of belief, and an echo of emotion taking shape. We don't usually think of our minds as creative engines of reality, but what if they are? What if the right combination of focus, will, and energy is enough to bring something or someone into being? What if you've already made something without realizing it? Have you ever felt like your thoughts have taken on a shape of their own and that they follow you around? Are you capable of creating a guardian for yourself, or a fear, or a watcher in the dark? So be mindful, be intentional, and above all, be careful of what you think into being. Until next time, thank you for joining me in the Spirit Parlour. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever experienced any type of imaginary friend or tulpa for yourself? Whenever I hear about this story, The Velveteen Rabbit, I immediately think, wow, this is a story about a tulpa. It's a tale of a little boy who loved his stuffed animal so much that it became real. I hope that's not a spoiler for anyone out there. There's an actual section in the book where the little boy had left his toy rabbit outside and it was time for bed, and he could not go to sleep without his little rabbit. So the nanny had to go outside and find his beloved rabbit, and she brought it back to him in his bedroom, and he hugged it tightly, and she said, "All this fuss for a little toy." And he protested to her, and he said, "Don't say that. He's not a toy. He's real." And in the story, the rabbit heard him and just began to glow with love and appreciation and began to believe too that finally he was real. The Velveteen Rabbit is a real heartfelt, warm, and somewhat sentimental and sad story as well. And it's a story that reminds me that the idea of tulpas has been around for a very long time, even if we don't use the exact terminology for it. Thank you for joining me in the Spirit Parlour this evening. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion tonight. If you have any personal experiences with something that you would consider a thought form, I would love to hear about it. So please reach out, leave a comment. You can email me anytime at speaknow@italktoghosts.com, because I love hearing your stories. And in the meantime, stay curious, stay brave, and may your creations always walk beside you, never ahead of you. Take care.
Welcome to Brew Crime, a true crime and beer podcast.
This is a podcast where we pick a theme, cover a few cases, and pair them with craft beer.
Join me, Mike.
And me, JT.
As we explore the world of crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. You can find us on social media at Brewcrime or our website, brewcrime.com. And you can find us on any podcast app at Brewcrime Podcast.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us and maybe, definitely tip a bottle or two back as you do it. Drink with us the second and last Tuesday of every month.
If you enjoy stories of the paranormal and the unexplained, join me for They're Not Shadows. As I got out of the car, lightning lit up the sky. The trees making a jagged display through the rain. They're not shadows. It's a spooky good time.
Hello? Are you okay?